Monstera Deliciosa, sometimes called the Swiss cheese plant or the fruit salad plant, it's absolutely gorgeous and a fantastic plant for beginner plant enthusiasts. If you're first getting into the hobby, Monstera Deliciosa is a great one. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a brief crash course. We're going to talk about where they've come from and how we can keep them happy and healthy. Monstera Deliciosa, Monstera meaning monster. It's huge, it can get to quite a big size, and Deliciosa referring to the flavour of its fruit, delicious. I haven't tried its fruit myself, but apparently it is good tasting. It is a member of the Araceae family, and that's the same family that Alocasia, Philodendron, pothos, and more belong to. Monstera Deliciosa is native to the Central Americas, so from Mexico to Panama is where you will find them natively. They live in tropical rainforests, and one of the adaptations that they have made, because they have such large leaves, is the fenestrations or vents, kind of like drains in their leaves, so that when a tropical downpour comes, it doesn't pull the leaf apart or pull the leaf down the trunk of a tree. And these leaves can grow to almost a meter long, so they need those fenestrations or those holes in them. It's an epiphyte, or it's epiphytic, and that just means that it grows on other trees without being a parasite. So it uses other trees, other plants to support its growth, but it doesn't take nutrients out of them. It uses other trees as a ladder to reach sunlight. But why are these details important? Well, if we can understand where Monstera Deliciosa is coming from, it's setting it naturally, we can fit its needs in our own homes. So what does Monstera Deliciosa need? Let's first talk about location. Monstera Deliciosa grows naturally in tropical regions and therefore is a tropical plant. It doesn't like getting too cold. If you're growing it inside, it's probably going to be okay unless your house for some reason gets very, very cold. They come from rainforests, and rainforests are environments where sunlight is in competition for. The canopy is restricting the amount of sunlight that gets through. Monstera is growing up trees, they're epiphytes, and so they've always got some shade for some of the day. And it's good to try and recreate those kind of conditions for your Monstera. Now, they are not too fussy when it comes to light conditions. They can go from medium, they can go unfiltered, they can go to bright indirect light. They don't like full direct light all day, but they can handle it for part of the day. Some sun, some shade will be okay for a Monstera. They're very tolerant of lots of different light levels. If they have less light, obviously they'll grow slower. If they have too much light, you'll notice because the leaves will start to go yellow. It's also something to think about. They can get quite large. Now, this can quite easily be controlled with pruning, but it's something to think about that they can grow to be quite a good sized plant. Let's talk about potting medium. What are you planting your Monstera Deliciosa in? Monstera Deliciosa like well-draining soil. They quite enjoy being let dry between waterings. So whenever I plant a Monstera Deliciosa, I like to throw in a little bit of perlite to help increase drainage. So that might be something to consider. So get a potting mix that drains well. Also make sure you're planting it in a pot which drains well. So it must have a drainage hole. My preference is terracotta. Terracotta is not essential, but it needs to have a drainage hole. It's also handy to get yourself a moisture meter so that you can tell when it is dry. I generally like to let mine dry out completely for a little while before I water it again. During the warmer months here in Australia, I will water mine about weekly. During the cooler months, I'll water them about fortnightly. During the warmer months, I like to fertilise mine monthly to maintain and support growth. Monstera Deliciosa are epiphytic, so they grow up other trees in the wild to reach sunlight. So we can create that in our own homes. I use moss poles on mine to help them grow up, but you don't have to use moss poles. You can use other wooden stakes or more creative methods. Over time, as your Monstera Deliciosa gets older, you will notice aerial roots. These kind of look like sticks coming out of your Monstera Deliciosa, and they are absolutely fine. You can leave those there. That's just what they use to attach themselves to whatever they're growing onto. And finally, their fruit. there's a good chance that your Monstera, once it gets to a nice mature age, will start to fruit. I've heard that its fruit is delicious, but you need to wait for it to ripen properly. If you try to eat an unripe one, it'll probably give you an upset stomach. It's also super easy to propagate a Monstera Deliciosa. Once you have got a mature plant, you can start pruning off some of its nodes, pop them in a vase of water, and wait for roots to grow. Once it's got roots, you can put that into soil, and you've got yourself a brand new cloned plant. Monstera Deliciosa are beautiful plants. They're tolerant of a wide range of light conditions, and they can be quite happy in a range of settings so long as you don't overwater them. Thank you very much for watching this video. I actually made this video specifically for one of my friends who is getting into houseplants for the first time, so I hope you found this helpful. Everybody else, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more of my stuff or more avocado content, please do subscribe to Scott Grows an Avocado Tree. Turn notifications on so as to not miss any of my uploads. I'd love to know what you thought of this video in the comments below, and with that like button. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree.